Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
I have a tender spot in my heart for cripples, bastards, and broken things.
What about second breakfast?
I have an army.
We have a Hulk. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
This is a tasty burger.
And tell him to suit up. I'm bringing the party to you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Optics Podcast. And today we have a plethora of topics to talk about. We're going to be talking about Warner Brothers releasing more information about HBO Max, their new streaming service. And we're going to be diving in to Apple TV Plus and if it's worth it, and a few other subtopics about the stream wars in general. You know, all these streaming services are coming out. You got Apple TV Plus, you got Disney Plus coming out next week. We're 7 days away from that, and we have Peacock. We can't forget about we can't forget about Peacock. But before we get into today's topics, I'm joined by Devin as always. How are you doing today on this fine Tuesday evening?
It's just the worst day of the week, but I'm getting through it.
You think Tuesdays are the worst day of the week? I'm thinking more of Mondays.
Tuesday is just, there's nothing going on.
That is true. It's like you're almost in the middle of the week, but not quite there. And I don't know, but I do agree with you there for sure. And
we're talking about some real cinema here today, boys.
Yeah, real cinema, Marty.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. We got your eyes on these boomers, man. These freaking boomers, I swear. It's crazy.
Everywhere.
But, yeah, literally everywhere. Our parents are boomers, so that's fun.
Well, mine aren't, but
okay, yeah, yours aren't. I think my mom is. I can't really remember. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, so before we get started on today's topics, don't forget you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, iTunes / Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. I'm going to upload the audio version of this on YouTube as well. And I believe that's it. Those are like the main platforms that we're on. You can also follow us on Twitter at Film Optics. Optics, again, is spelled OPTIX. And yeah, I guess just dive right in, man. So our first main topic that we have for today, Warner Brothers releases more information about HBO Now. I'll just get into small
HBO Max.
HBO Max, excuse me. Which is pretty much almost the same thing as HBO Now because, well, if you have an HBO Now account, you will be able to opt in to upgrade for free to HBO Max, which gives you everything, and that's $14.99 per month. $14.99 per month. Wow, I'm really losing it tonight. $14.99 per month, same as the same price as HBO Now, which is really interesting. What are your thoughts about that, Devin? Do you have HBO Now? I'm not entirely sure.
Not yet, but I think I'm going to be getting it soon.
Oh, very soon. You're going to be watching some Watchmen.
What's the difference between Now and Go?
So HBO Now is for people who do not have HBO or subscribe to HBO through their cable subscription. So HBO Go is something that I use. So my parents, they've been subscribed to HBO with their cable packaging for as long as I can remember. And so if you log in with your cable provider through HBO Go, you get the same content as HBO Now. It's just kind of like an added bonus. But let's say, you don't have HBO with your cable package. You can just sign up for HBO Now, which is like the streaming service version, if that makes any sense. It's very weird. Yeah.
I see. But I don't know why they wouldn't just combine it into one, but...
Yeah, because I thought, I was like, I can just sign up for HBO Now and not have to worry about HBO Go, even though it's literally the same thing. It's just, one's for people who don't have HBO with that cable package, and the other one is. But I did a little bit more digging in with this because I know with our notes, right now we have like, HBO Now and HBO Go will HBO Max will be free with both. So I did a little bit of digging and I could have swore I saw somewhere that HBO Go was also a part of this, but from what I've been reading, it only seems like it's HBO Now, so I might actually have to opt into that myself, which is honestly totally fine, or I can just pay the same amount for HBO Max. I don't. It's very confusing.
It's not confirmed that if you have HBO through your cable provider that you'll be getting HBO Max for free.
Yeah, like, because I mean, I went on their website and everything, and I couldn't find it. The only thing that they were promoting was that if you have HBO Now, that you will have free access to HBO Max.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
So I'll definitely go with Now then.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to as well. So HBO Max essentially being the big sister of the three services, which is HBO Go, HBO Now, and HBO Max, which it's very, very weird, but that's kind of like the dissecting part that we can pretty much go over. But yeah, it's very strange. So it looks like I'll just have to opt into what's one more streaming service, right? I mean, it's totally fine. It's cool.
Time to start counting on two hands.
Yeah, well, this thing's still one hand for me. Still one hand. I'm not subscribed to Hulu.
Well, I got Hulu, and then there's Netflix, and then there's Disney Plus, and then.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, I guess Apple counts, even though I'm not paying for it.
I mean, does
Amazon?
Does Amazon really count?
I mean, yeah, we have it, so.
Yeah, that's true. So I have Amazon.
It's all part of the package.
Right. So Amazon. I have Amazon, Apple TV Plus, which again, yeah. Netflix, Prime. I'll have to. Oh my God, that will be counting two hands because I have Disney Plus. That's 5. And then
that's CBS All Access Live.
No. Showtime. Anybody?
No, actually, I think I got Showtime free, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I know a lot of these. I think CBS All Access, you can also sign in with your cable provider, which is like the only real reason why cable is still around. I swear, the only relevancy that it has is that
I actually think you have to pay for CBS All Access no matter what.
Oh, do you really?
I think so.
I'm not entirely sure. I never even attempted to try to get it, but I swear nowadays it's just with cable. I swear they only try to make it relevant with bundling it with your internet to make it cheaper. Because it's like, I mean, no one's making you pay for all these subscriptions. And it's like, honestly, I mean, yeah, I've had like Amazon Prime Video for a while, but I didn't really start using it until this past year when The Boys came out. Like, I never even really watched anything on there, to be completely honest.
Feels like they're definitely getting better as time goes on.
Yeah. It seems like they're getting really good material.
With original content.
Yeah, especially with Fleabag. And there's another one on there. Modern Love, I hear is really good as well.
Yeah, and that one that keeps winning Emmys. The one about the stand-up comedian. I can't remember the name of it.
The Marvelous Miss Maisel, I believe it is. Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird stuff. But people are like, oh, cable's better, and I'm like, well, streaming is still better because you can, you know what you're paying for, or what shows you're going to be watching while paying for that service, versus paying X amount of dollars for God knows how many channels that you'll never watch in your entire life.
And it's pretty rare to have shows that are on cable exclusively. Like what shows that you can only watch on cable? Yeah,
I swear the only thing cable is really good for nowadays, I mean, I guess sometimes award shows, I mean, some of them they start streaming online, especially with the Golden Globes and the Emmys, and the Oscars as well. But really, the only thing I can think about for is sports packages. Really, I mean,
I think DVR is pretty convenient.
Yeah, I agree there. And I mean, to be honest, other than that, I mean, every single time I go home, visit my parents, I'm not watching cable. I mean, I pack up my laptop, or I pack up my my Apple TV or my Amazon, my Fire TV, and just bring it with me. And, you know, I mean, I just watch, I mean, if I'm bored, I'll just watch something on Netflix or, you know, but the whole like, oh, you know, I don't watch TV, I stream. Like, yeah, I know what you're saying, but you're still watching a form of television. It's just different. But anyway, going back to HBO Max. So a few things that we've learned from it is that it's over 10,000 hours of content. It launches spring 2020. I believe the correct date is May. I also believe that this is the perfect rival for Disney Plus. What do you think?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see, obviously, but it's definitely sounding like it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. And like, I understand that people say, oh, you know, like Disney owns everything and, you know, this huge Disney empire. And I'm like, well, okay, let's slow your roll for a second, because I honestly believe like Warner Brothers owns at least maybe just as much, maybe a little bit less, but Warner Brothers owns a lot and people don't really understand that. Like, they own the properties, Harry Potter, you have Lord of the Rings, you have, I mean, they're owned by AT&T. Like, AT&T owns Warner Brothers and they are freaking huge. Like, it is absolutely insane. Like, yes, Disney's been around for a long time. A lot of their older content, honestly, probably isn't all that great for Disney, but, you know, them owning Star Wars and Marvel, those are like, obviously, it's two biggest pillars, not counting, you know, Pixar and, you know, Disney, its own pillar as well. But I mean, you know, pop culture, that's what's in today. But I don't know, just for it being $14.99, it is a lot. But I mean, going through a lot of these shows, like, I mean, there's Barry, I mean, the HBO library series in general, you have Barry, you have Big Little Lies, you have Chernobyl, Game of Thrones, Euphoria, Sex and the City, True Blood, you know, the list goes on and on, Watchmen, Westworld, you know, and that's just the HBO library series. You know, they have a lot of movies that they own: Crazy Stupid Love, Shazam, Madagascar, Joker, It Chapter 2, Isn't It Romantic, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. It just goes on and on. I mean, Big Bang Theory is supposed to be on HBO Max. You have the Boondocks coming back to HBO Max. You have South Park, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends. Like, it just seems to literally net Rick and Morty, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the more underrated parts of it is having Cartoon Network. That's a lot of good content there.
And they have they hold Crunchyroll is going to be on HBO Max. And I mean, there are some anime shows that I watch, not as much as I used to. I mean, My Hero Academia is honestly the only one that I still watch to this day, just because I enjoy it really very much. But the anime crowd, if you're pulling that crowd in, you're golden. This is just like, this is a gold mine. For $14.99, you are getting a lot for your money. It is the most expensive streaming platform, but I mean, thinking about it, it's just, it's crazy. I mean, I really think that they're going to give Disney Plus a run for their money. I mean, starting out, Disney Plus, you know, day one's going to be $6.99 per month, but you know, as we've seen with Netflix and Hulu in the past, you know, they start hiking up their prices a little bit more, and a little bit more. And I mean, Netflix is what, for a standard is like $12.99 for just one person. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you have any other more thoughts about this or anything else you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I don't have much experience with HBO. I've never really had it, but I've always seen all the amazing shows on it, and then I think it's time to dive into it.
Yeah, man. And I mean, there's no word on 4K streaming yet, but the good news is with HBO Max is that, you know, HBO Now and HBO Go are not going away just because this is launching, which does make it a little confusing. But as long as you have HBO Now, you will have access to HBO Max. If you don't have access to HBO Max or HBO Now in general, I mean, I believe you should be okay with HBO Max because I believe that is everything. And I think DC Universe might be a part of that package as well. I'm not entirely sure. I tried to do a little bit of research on that. The closest thing that I found is that it will HBO Max will include DC comic live action movies from the last decade and every DC Batman and Superman film for the past 40 years. But the only reason why I say that DC Universe will be a part of HBO Max is because Doom Patrol Season 2 is supposed to come out, release on HBO Max as well. But there's no real word if it's going to be part of it. But also, another big seller for HBO Max, really quick, is the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, which is based off of the Fire and Blood book that George R.R. Martin has released this past year. It covers within the 300 years of the Targaryen dynasty, as they were ruling over Westeros from Aegon's conquest and forward. And there was supposed to be another Game of Thrones prequel in the works with The Long Night, or called The Age of Heroes, dealing with the first Long Night. I know you don't know too much about this, Devin. That's all right. So I think they canned that one and they decided to go with House of Dragons. So I think that's a really smart move. But another thing really quick, sorry, I'm going like on a really rampage right now because I know we want to get into the Apple TV stuff. I just wanted to cover the HBO Max because I know that you need to get HBO now though, dude. And Watchmen's fantastic. Like,
does it have movies on it?
Yeah, HBO now. Yeah, it has plethora of movies. Trust me, I honestly think it's worth it. I know a lot of people who have actually canceled like their HBO Now subscriptions because, season 8 Game of Thrones, blah blah blah, yeah, whatever. I personally don't think it's that bad. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting, because I know at least 5 other shows out there that have way worse endings, but I'm not going to get into that. They have a crap ton of like current movies that are on there as well. That's how I watched Crazy Rich Asians, so it's pretty sweet.
My sister said they get HBO for free for being a Kent, which is interesting.
Oh, really? Might have to, dive into that market.
It's region locked, unfortunately.
Oh, is it really?
On or near Kent campus.
No, really? Oh, region locked for... Wow, that's weird. As soon as you said that, I'm like, what? We live in the USA. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, well, I guess region locked for Kent campus wise. Well, I guess that makes sense. But also, another good thing about HBO Max is that those people who have subscribed to HBO through AT&T's TV platform will also receive HBO Max at no original cost. And they also plan to premiere around 50 original series within the first year of its service, with 31 done within 2020 alone. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. 50 original series within the first year of the service. Okay, well, I guess they're counting their prior original series added onto that. In general, I guess. But yeah, man. So was there anything else you wanted to touch on for HBO Max before we move on to the next topic?
I think that's it.
All right. I do apologize that I've been going on a rampage about it, but I'm just really excited for the service. Again, everyone, $14.99 per month. If you have HBO Now, you'll be able to access HBO Max for free. So, all right.
I guess the only downfall is that we have to wait until what?
Yeah,
May
2020.
May. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same month that The Last of Us Part 2 comes out. I think that comes out on the 29th of May, which is practically June, but it's all right. I trust Naughty Dog, and they'll give it the old Naughty Dog polish. But let's move on to why we're really here. One of the reasons why we're really here, Devin, we we made it. We have Apple TV for a year.
You get what you pay for.
You bought a new phone.
It's a good way to
I bought
start.
an Apple TV, and we got Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus for free. So hey, it's cool, you know. For everyone out there who does not know, Apple TV is $5 per month or $50 per year. And if you are a student, Apple and it's bundled with Apple Music for students for $5.99 for free. So if you have Apple Music, if you're a student, you know, you're already paying the $5.99. You also get access to Apple TV Plus for free. And also, as we just mentioned, Devin bought a new iPhone and I bought a Apple TV. So I believe this started after September 3rd. If you buy, you get Apple TV Plus, excuse me. It's such a mouthful to say. You get Apple TV Plus for free if you buy a new Apple product for a limited time. We don't know when it's supposed to end. Apple normally doesn't, convey that message out to the common people.
I wonder if you can buy like a charging cable and get a whole year for free.
I'd like to buy a new.
What's your cheapest item, sir?
I think the cheapest item is actually their the charging cable. It actually might be. It's like 20 bucks.
Probably. Yeah.
Yep, $20. There we go. But yeah, Devin. So we've been watching a lot of shows. We've been watching a crap ton of shows. So
yeah.
Apple TV Plus, the 4 main shows that they are really pushing include Emily Dickinson, which is a more modern take on the writer Emily Dickinson. You have the morning show starring, oh my gosh, Jennifer Aniston.
Starring everybody.
Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. Oh my gosh, Michael Scott. I'm blanking.
Steve
Carell. Wow, there we go. It's late. And then there's a few. Yeah, the morning show is actually packed with a lot of stars. And then there's the show C, which is I understand why they called it that. This is something I watched. I know Devin didn't watch it, so I'll just give my thoughts about it. In the meantime, but so there's also For All Mankind, which I believe is a different take on if the Russians beat us to the moon. That I have not watched, and I don't think you've watched it either. It didn't really.
Not yet. I might give it a try.
Yeah, I might give it a try too. But the main
is there anything else though besides those? Like I haven't really seen.
I know there's like a Snoopy show for kids. And they have like their own like Animal Planet type movie. I forgot the name of it. I'm drawing a blank. You know, if you want to look it up, you know, let me know. But it's
definitely the cheapest streaming service, and
yeah,
we know why. You get what you pay for.
Yeah. I mean, they try to lowball.
It's like $1. It's like $1 per show almost.
Pretty much. I mean, they try to lowball Disney Plus by $1. There you go. You know, Disney Plus is going to start at $6.99. Has amazing content. You know, National Geographic, Pixar, Disney, Star Wars, Marvel. And, you know, for those feeling a little bit fancy, they have like the ultimate package where you can get, was it ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus all together, which is actually pretty cool. I think that's around like $13 or $12.99 per month. But the starting out entry price is $6.99 for Disney Plus. But Apple's like, you know what? We're going to go $1 lower, and we're just going to pump out all of our Apple original films. But I believe that, I mean, with these shows, you know, they have their originals, but I feel like Apple TV, because the Apple TV app whether on your cell phone or on your MacBook in general, I feel like they try to make an all-in-one, because even when I'm on there, you know, I see more advertisements for like HBO Go and then Stars. So they're really trying to build their own ecosystem around that. But let's just talk about the shows that we've seen. You started off by seeing Emily Dickinson, right?
Dickinson, yeah.
Dickinson. Sorry, it's just called Dickinson. What are your thoughts?
I like it. It's like a kind of a unique take on what a period piece usually is. Kind of more on the light side, a little more humor, and doesn't take itself very seriously. And Haley Steinfeld is one of our favorite young actresses out there, so always nice to see her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would definitely have to agree with you. For everyone out there who doesn't know, I am a big sucker for period pieces, and I didn't really hear too much about this show. In general, I know that my buddy Dwayne over at the Cinemania World podcast, I was talking about it in one of his reviews. He said he wasn't too crazy about it, which it's either that's how it is with the show. Either you like it or you don't. But I wanted to try it out for myself, and he pretty much said the same thing as you. He went to like an early screening of Dickinson, but they showed episode 1 and then they showed episode 3. And
that's weird.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you got to subscribe to what happens in episode 2," but it's weird because Dickinson is, I believe, one of the few shows on Apple TV Plus that the entire season is on there. For the morning show and for C and For All Mankind, they when the service launched this past Friday, they only released the first 3 episodes, and I believe from here on out they will be adopting the same practice as Disney Plus with their original shows by releasing the episodes weekly, which I actually really appreciate, because I think a lot of streaming services are going to start pushing towards that, because since there are more coming up, it's going to be even harder and harder to be like, hey, I got to watch all of Dickinson, then I got to watch all the morning show. And like the morning show and C and For All Mankind, they're all hour-long episodes. So it's like, that's definitely a bigger bite to chew in general when it comes to watching these films. And I think Dickinson in general is 30 minutes per episode around there, so it's actually not that bad.
See, I think it will be good for it to be weekly, but I think for 30-minute shows, especially for sitcoms, it does make sense to pull them all out at once so you can just binge through it, because sitcoms are usually the most bingeable content there is.
Yeah, I agree. And even with looking at Stranger Things, because there's shows pretty much push an hour. And I'm not saying it doesn't feel like a chore, because sometimes it does, but if it's a show that you really like, then you're not really going to care too much about it. But I guess getting back over to Dickinson, for me, like I like it. I really do like it.
It's not like amazing or anything, but it's just like kind of
it's very enjoyable to watch, and it's just good. It's very entertaining. It's
well made.
Yeah, it really is. Within that time period, and women weren't pretty much allowed to even have a voice when it came to anything. They didn't have the right to vote. They couldn't go to school. They just had to work in the kitchen until their feet bled or whatever. I know it's a really weird saying, but let's talk about morning show thoughts.
Yeah. It's good. It's definitely well made. It's got all of these actors in it that really carry the show.
There's Apple products everywhere.
A lot of them. I didn't really notice that, but
I did. But that's only because I was like, when I first started watching, I'm like, wow, like they're actually using Apple products. I'm like, well, duh, it's on. It's an Apple original. Of course, they're gonna be using Apple products. It's literally like with Sony all over again. Sony loves for their their actors to be using their technology, product placement in their original films.
But based on the first 3 episodes that we were able to watch, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking. It's not like it's like crazy, you have to see this, like what's happening. Like, it's definitely good quality content, but it's not like gonna blow you away or anything.
Yeah, it's good acting. The show is stacked. It's interesting. It's about a co-host or Steve Carell's character Mitch, who gets charged with sexual misconduct. Is it, or allegations?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's pretty much where the show is heading. I just finished episode 2, so I only have one more to go until they release the next episode, which I believe comes out in the next like 3 or 4 days. I think November 8th, I want to say, from the last time I Googled it, but I do I do really
them covering the Me Too topic is definitely pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting too, because I mean, it did come out of nowhere, but people believe that there are issues with it, and it's just a very interesting topic to cover. I didn't want to get too much into it because that's not why we do this podcast.
We'll see how much better it gets as the season goes on.
Yeah, we will see. And speaking of that was a nice transition.
I don't want to see.
We will see. So I watched all 3 episodes of C. The first episode, I wasn't entirely sure if I liked it enough to keep watching it, but because I fell asleep like halfway through. It was like super late at night, and then I woke up the next day. I was like, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. Have a fresh mind, eat some breakfast, do some chores, watch it, and it kind of roped me in towards the end. Because there's pretty much a big cliffhanger at the end of each episode, as there is for a lot of these shows. But I started liking it to a point. If I'm rating it right now, it's definitely in the 70 out of 100 range. But it's enjoyable, and like it's interesting enough for me to see where this goes. We do have Apple Plus for
so C, you gotta see.
Yeah, C, you have to witness with your own eyes. You got to see it.
It got a C grade.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say C plus.
I remember seeing the first trailer that came out, and I was just like, man, this does not look very good.
Yeah, it really is an interesting story. So I mean, the long and short of it is that there was a epidemic, an outbreak that happened with humanity that killed majority of the human race, and those who have survived this random outbreak infection are blind. So blind people having babies with blind people, 9 times out of 10 their baby's going to be blind as well. But there's this guy called, it's set in the modern day, but it's kind of like they reverted back to the tribal area or the tribal period, and it's weird because none of them can see, and it is interesting how they they send messages to each other, how they build their civilization, but there is this one girl who gives birth to twins, and her the father's name is Jal Morel, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right, and he has the ability to see, and they view people who have the ability to see as gods, but they're very, very rare. But there's only 3 people so far that who have the ability to see, which is the father of the 2 children of the twins, who also have the ability to see. So it's pretty interesting. I didn't really know what to make of it at first, but it got me roped in. So I mean, I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna see what happens. So it's great. It's a little strange. Jason Momoa was in it. I'm like, all right, that's enough for me. That's cool. So I would say check it out. I mean, if you like it, you don't. If not, it is what it is.
Seems a little too Bird Boxy for me, for my liking. And
I was thinking that at first. I'm like, oh, this is kind of just, yeah. I mean, but in a way, it is so different because they speak about America, and they, there's all these rundown like amusement parks, but no one can see where they are. So it's like you're literally just living in darkness. But yeah, it has a little bit of a Bird Boxy vibe, but I would still say it's different. Definitely differs itself enough to, for its own original content. But so I guess the main question is, do you think Apple can hold their own during the streaming wars?
No, like just straight up, it's just gotta be real. Like, it's just not enough content.
Yeah, I mean, you said it so confidently and so quickly.
Nope.
It was like,
not
no,
a chance.
No. And I remember they were talking about this on Lights Camera Barstool. I was listening to them earlier. And I believe it was either Trill or Kenjack were saying that, Apple has enough. And they were making the comparison to Microsoft when they decided to get into the, gaming industry, where, Microsoft was taking cuts for the original Xbox when it first came out. But, Microsoft was, I think it was Trill, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, they were saying that, their pockets are deep enough to where they can make those losses and still have a product, profit in the long run. And they were kind of comparing that to Apple TV Plus, where, Apple is a huge company. Like, even on Twitter, their followers is like 8.18 million, whatever people. They're not following a single person on Twitter, by the way. It's literally zero. But I feel like, this might be more of a test for them, because since it is so low of a price of entry point, and there's little content, so little content right now. But I mean, I do believe
it's definitely not worth it as of now. But if like these shows seem interesting to you, you might as well just spend $5 and watch it all in a month. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Having that lower price does make it a lot easier.
Yeah, and, it's not much of a commitment, and if you haven't bought a new Apple product recently, it's a 7-day free trial, so you can definitely try it out, see if it's for you. And I've always felt like, like when they were saying on Lights Camera Barstool about, Apple is, they're kind of testing these waters. They can afford to make this kind of mistake, and it's not like it's major mistake. I honestly think their major mistake is their gaming department, but they've been trying to get into the gaming industry for a while. But I mean, even with that, I think if you have like Apple Arcade, which is what it's called, and Apple TV Plus, I think that averages out to like $10 a month, which is actually really cheap. And it's low risk, low reward. So it's like, hey, if you don't really like it, it's like, well, I only spent like $6 on it. So I guess they might just be testing the waters. I feel like entertainment in general is Apple's strong suit, but they also have their hardware, which is more what they're popular for. But I mean, Apple did start off in music, and with the iPod, and with the Mac. Well, they became more popular with music, because I mean, Macs have been around. Apple Macintoshes have been around for a while, but that's kind of how they got their start. And I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Netflix has always been pumping out random content, whether you like it or not. And I think End of the Fucking World season 2 came out tonight, so that's really cool. And they're also coming out with the Witcher series as well. I mean, that's a pretty big property. I mean, Apple doesn't really have any big properties like that. I
think one other downfall for Apple is, where's the movies?
Oh, and yeah, I think that goes back to what I was saying with, they want their Apple TV app to be more of a central hub when it comes to, if you have HBO, you can watch it. How like you can watch like HBO now through like Amazon Video, which is really weird.
On the Apple TV Plus app, they show Watchmen on the cover.
Yeah, so it's like, you can watch it through the Apple TV app, through HBO Now, but I tried it yesterday. I was like, okay, it's actual like separate owned app, or like they have Watchmen themselves, but it just took me straight to HBO Go.
So yeah, I don't really like every other service has movies and will have movies, but this one has no free movies from what I could tell.
Yeah, I believe that not Treasure Planet, like Animal Planet show that I was talking about, I believe that actually is a movie. I could be wrong, but I would have to go back and double check. But I think Apple is I don't really think they're trying to go to toe to toe with Hulu or Netflix as of right now, because their price point is so low and because they don't have a lot of content. I actually think if Apple were to enter the streaming market, which they have, they would start off at a lower budget with the least amount of content to see if people are interested, because these shows aren't bad. They definitely,
no, they're well made.
Yeah, they're very
Apple's
well
definitely
made.
They're definitely diving right in, because I think I saw Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon are making $2 million per episode.
Yeah,
and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the budgets for these are huge. I was watching C the other day, and I mean the shots just look freaking amazing. Like they spent a lot. Like even like watching it on my Apple TV, and I think that's the best experience to have it on. But it's more for the Apple ecosystem. But there's no buffering. Even when I was trying out Netflix or HBO Go or YouTube, there was no buffering whatsoever.
I had a couple stutters throughout the shows, but it wasn't like anything major.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have any whatsoever, but I guess that just depends on the device. But like I was saying, these shot, like they look great. They're a lot of these shows, they're made for 4K TVs, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. It sounds great. It looks great. It's all there. But I don't think the writing for any of these shows are bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse on Netflix. Tall Girl.
Yikes.
But and a few others. But I watched Dolomite Is My Name the other day, and it was a great movie. But Netflix has been around for a while, and I think if Apple wants to keep in within these streaming wars, they have the blueprint. They have all these other streaming services that have been doing this for a long time, and they're like, okay, what works for them, what can work for us, what are they doing that we can be doing better, or vice versa. So I think them coming in at a lower price point, and just with least amount of content for now, just to test the waters, might help them in the long run. But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we move on to our final topic?
That's it.
All right, so the last one is pretty much just the streaming service breakdown, which ones are worth your money. So I guess we'll just name off the ones that we think that are coming out, because Disney Plus again comes out on 7 days from now, on Tuesday, November 12th. For whatever reason, I thought it was the 15th, and I actually really, really wish that they would have dropped this on a Friday, which I think Apple did a really great job with. Because it's like, hey, it's the weekend, people are going to be off work. They're going to have time to watch these shows, to give them a shot, to see what they think, and so on and so forth. Which that was the only thing I wish that Disney would have done. I wish they would have pushed it, launched it on a Friday. Because that would have been very, very perfect for a lot of people. Because, a lot of people got to go to work on Tuesday. Might be able to catch like a show or two just to see how it, pans out. But that's just,
we're gonna have to watch The Mandalorian Tuesday night.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, and then again on Friday, because I think episode 2 comes out on Friday, which is fine. But yeah, but so I guess so everyone kind of like has their own formula for what streaming service works for them. So which ones do you plan on having? Which ones do you plan on getting rid of? what is your holy trinity of streaming services after hearing all these, announcements, HBO Max, Peacock, and whatnot?
Why even mention Peacock?
Hey man, people
I
love
did
The
hear-
Office.
I did hear that they're saying it might be free with ads, so I guess that could be worth it if you really want to watch something.
I absolutely hate ads. I do. I just want to watch the content and go on with my day.
But yeah, like I said before, we're gonna get into HBO, see how that goes. Definitely seems like it'll be pretty important. I think Netflix is definitely still like
Relevant.
very, very important. People are seeming to like kind of underrate it at this point, but I think Netflix is still going very strong. Their shows, they have a ton of good shows. They always have, and now movies are starting to step up because
Bird Box, baby. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
movies
yeah, honestly,
they were definitely a weakness before, but now movies are coming out are looking pretty good.
yeah, I think, but I do like the whole, Netflix theory where, they just throw whatever to the wall and see what sticks. Because there are a lot of shows. And I think a lot of people, I think Netflix is kind of underrated sometimes. Because, you have things like Umbrella Academy. Obviously, people watch it for Stranger Things. But there's a lot of great stuff on there, honestly. I mean, there's this one show called Sex Education. It's this British TV show. It's great. There's this show called Skins. I mean, I know there's a US version, but they have the UK version on Netflix. I think it's a fantastic show. There's a lot to offer.
They also have
Netflix.
the most movies in general as well.
Yeah, and they're. I really hope they don't stop their their binging philosophy, I should say, because I know I've read that they're gonna start trying to release them weekly because obviously they know that Disney Plus is coming and they're gonna be releasing their content weekly, which I think a lot of people do appreciate because it gives you more time to watch their new original content weekly and also binge all of the Disney related content that everybody loves. So it doesn't feel too much like a chore. It's like, okay, well I gotta watch all the Mandalorian first, then I gotta move on to this. It's like, I watch episode 1 of Mandalorian, a few days later episode 2 comes out, and then
and it lets us review every episode.
Yeah, thank God, because I know a lot of podcasters and YouTubers are very excited for that, just because it small bites, baby steps, everyone, baby steps, and it gives people to talk about it throughout the week, which I really do miss, and that's something I appreciated with Game of Thrones. It came on a weekly basis, gave you a week to talk about the show, theorize, and just get ready for the next show within the next week, and it gave you something to look forward to. And I honestly I miss that a lot. I really do. But
Netflix definitely mandatory for me. HBO Max probably will be. Disney Plus will be, based on what they've shown us so far.
That's super long thread.
That's the big three. And then Hulu is nice, but definitely not necessary. You can get by without having it.
Could you get? Well, I was gonna ask if you can get by without Amazon Prime.
I mean, it's nice to have, but it's really not
That's not
necessary.
why people have Amazon Prime. It's for the shipping. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have Amazon Prime, you might as well give it a shot. But can you even get it separately?
You see, I do not know. When I was looking up, and I saw Amazon Prime videos $8.99. So I'm assuming that you can, but that's a good question, man. I want to say yes, just because I've seen a lot of different charts with it on, for different streaming services here in America. So I am assuming you can get it separately. And it wouldn't make sense that you could for people, who don't have Amazon Prime for, for packages and whatnot and what have you. So I don't know, but I would have to agree with you on the holy trinity of Netflix. Streaming services. definitely getting HBO Max. Netflix is always a must-have because there's, like I've said, there's a lot of great shows. We have Apple TV Plus, so we might as well throw it in there. And Disney Plus. I think HBO Max, Netflix, and Disney Plus are the main three to have. I do know
that's what, like, let's see, let's do some math. It's like what, 30, 32, $35 a month?
Yeah, because Netflix, depending on how many screens you allow to have, because I think essentially I think I have the 4K streaming package because me, my mom, and my sister all use the same account. I'm assuming it's the same for you, but it might be a little bit different with just.
I don't think we have the 4K package.
Okay, so I think that's around like $13, $14. I think mine's like $17. But you can always still rent movies from Netflix. They still have that. So a lot of people don't know that.
Walk on down to Redbox as well.
Oh yeah, man, I haven't used Redbox in forever. It's since like what, high school it's been? Yeah, it's been a while. Or, we can always just go up to Drug Mart and rent some movies.
Movie Mondays.
Movie Mondays.
79 cents. It's actually a good deal.
It actually is. Yeah, you can find some nice gold mines in there too. But I believe for my holy trinity would be that. I really don't care about Hulu or Peacock, CBS All Access, Stars, and all that mess. But I did want to talk about one other thing that could be a problem in the future.
Oh no, this is scary.
The password sharing problem that companies are starting to become aware of. So I know Disney Plus is aware of this. There's no word on if multiple locations can, across the U.S. or wherever you are.
And this affects us directly. We're going to have to test it out in a week from now.
Yeah, this does affect us directly. So we shall see. And HBO is actually aware of this issue. They have no plans for it at the moment, but they did say, it is a bit sketch when you see, 4 or 5 different locations accessing the same account. And, they do want their money. They are a business. They're here to make money and to provide services for people. So don't be surprised. I wouldn't say within like the next year or two, but don't be surprised if it hits later down the road.
I'm actually surprised Netflix didn't try to crack down on it earlier because everyone has a Netflix account from their cousins, brothers, uncles.
Yeah, I mean, people are trading passwords left and right. I unfortunately do not have that luxury. I really need to get on that and find some people who have like a Hulu account and want to trade some passwords. But it's very hard to trust a lot of these people out here because that's a very sacred thing. It's like, hey man, I'm giving you like my Netflix password. Like that's my entertainment. That's my TV. Don't mess with my package, my income, all that craziness. But yeah, it's I really don't know what they're gonna do. Hopefully they'll come out with a reasonable solution. So we'll just have to see. But what do you think for what this means for the industry moving forward?
It's scary for all us millennials who are trying to save some money.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, things are expensive. I mean, I read an article today that millennials would rather spend a week in jail to absolve their student debt. And we're millennials. And you know what? I had to think about it for a while.
A week is pretty short amount of time.
I would do it. But it can't it's it's jail, not prison. But things can happen in jail. A lot of things can happen within a week. But I believe I could do it.
Easy money.
Easy peasy. Literally easy money. To get rid of my school debt. Absolutely.
The real question is, what's the most amount of time you would spend in jail?
I would say no more. Maybe like 2 weeks a month. Maybe 2 weeks. No more than a month. No, let's do 2 weeks.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, no more than a month. No less obviously than like a week, but I would say maybe 2 weeks to a month in general. I have no clue. Well, let us know out there. How long would you spend in jail to absolve your student debt? So that would be pretty interesting to hear people talk about. But was there anything else you wanted to touch on? Any stories, last minute stories that you think are very interesting that like popped up to you this week before we pretty much close out here?
I'm just pumped for Disney Plus. One more week.
Very, very, very excited. Oh man, I'm just gonna. It's gonna be a great few months for hibernation. I mean, sign up for the 3-year deal, and I'm like, so there's not like a lifetime option. Honestly, I'm very excited, and these. I mean, Disney knows what they're doing. The Netherlands, they've been lucky. They've had Disney Plus for a while. Not every show has been on there. It's more of just like a test run of the app. But I think it's very smart that Disney implemented this plan to test it out in a country before, releasing it to the rest of the world to make sure that it runs properly, because that's not what you want, especially after all this hype that you've been building up for your own streaming service. That's the last thing that you would want. But I guess we'll just close out the show here. But I wanted to try out something a little bit new. I have a few movie quiz cards here. I'll just choose 3 from this little pile. So how this will work, because I already have the answers in front of me, I'll just ask you between 3 different cards, 3 cards, multiple choice, and then we'll give you like two chances, and then we'll just reveal the answer to the audience. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's study for this.
All right. So our first question here is, Flick is the lead character in which film? Wall-E, Monsters Inc., A Bug's Life, or Cars?
Flick?
Flick. Yes, Flick is the leading character in which film? Cars?
It's gotta be Bug's Life, right?
Yeah, you're right. Bug's Life. There you go.
Because you're not flicking anything else on that list.
I mean, I could be flicking Cars. I really don't like Cars. I'm not gonna lie.
It might be a little painful.
Very, very painful. All right, let's move on to the second one here. Who won the Academy Award for the Best Actor in 1980 playing Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull? Was it Tim Robbins, John Voight, F. Murray Abraham, or Robert De Niro?
See, I've never seen Raging Bull.
No,
but I know it's Martin Scorsese, so I'm just gonna guess Robert De Niro.
Yep, you're right. There you go.
Yeah. pretty easy to put those two together. It's
pretty easy. And well, the last one was gonna be a Martin Scorsese one, but let's go with something else. All right. I guess we'll just do simple ones for now and get into hard ones later on. But who played the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman? Was it Christian Bale, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, or Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood, Tom Cruise,
Christian Bale, or Jack Nicholson?
It's a tough one.
Yeah. Who did? I didn't think of. I'm like, wait, who did play the Joker? I'm like,
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto is correct.
It's Jack. It's old Jack boy.
It's old Jackie boy, Jack Nicholson. And that is this week's movie quiz roundup. I really don't know what to call this, but we're definitely going to do a little bit more of these. I really wish that I could, you could ask me some of these, or maybe we can find some online.
I can Google some.
Yeah, for sure. So we probably do that throughout, our more of our actual podcast segment. And also, I just wanted to make an announcement. So if you're looking to buy a movie this week, I put a little bit of a Twitter poll on my personal Twitter at Eulenberger7. So I came across a $20 Amazon credit, and I was trying to figure out what to buy. And Devin already knows the story. And I put it on the poll. You know, there are 3 movies coming out on November 12th, same day as Disney Plus. There's Good Boys, Peanut Butter Falcon, and The Farewell, which I'm very interested in getting The Farewell and Good Boys. Possibly Peanut Butter Falcon as well. We'll have to see. But I actually ended up buying Midsummer. And
oh, yeah.
I'm not much of a horror fan for anyone out there who doesn't know. And I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So
it's a very, very divisive movie.
Yeah, that's what people keep telling me. And, you know, like you had texted me, you're like, I think you like it. And I'm like, okay. I feel like Devin knows me, you know, pretty well. We've known each other since high school. You know, my taste in movies. He already knows that I hate scary movies to begin with. But, you know, he said it's more twisted than, you know, jump scary.
Yeah, it's more so a thriller.
Okay, that I can deal with. And of course, my girl Florence Pugh is in it. Can't believe for the longest time I said Florence Pugh, and I feel really stupid. But
she hates you now.
It's all right. I'll get back in her good graces some way, somehow. But yeah, so I got to support my girl Florence Pugh. Bought it on physical with the digital copy inside. So I'll let you guys know. Definitely gonna watch this in like broad daylight. And
you watch the 4-hour version or whatever.
There's a 4-hour version.
The director's cut.
Oh my god!
I remember they re-released it with like a lot more footage. It's already like 3 hours long.
Is it really? Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
What have I done? Little Anakin Skywalker there for you. But yeah, I guess I'll have to check it out, and I'm definitely gonna watch this during the day. You know,
the funny thing is, it's one of the only like horror movies that is actually set in the day. Like it's all throughout the daytime.
Yeah, I know, but the only thing I really know about the movie is, you know, they go to Sweden, they go to this festival, and there's like a cult, and it's daytime, 24/7, and that's literally all I know.
It's all you need to know.
Oh God. All right, well, let's just end it there, folks. That was the end of this Film Optics podcast. Our first our first official podcast since the name change, I believe. So that's pretty interesting. So again, you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and Anchor. That was the other one I forgot earlier. And I'm also going to upload this to YouTube for those who like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, because you never know. I do it all the time with the Nerd Soup podcast, best podcast around, and I implore every single one of you to check out their content, because they are fantastic at what they do, and it's always a great time. There's always something going on that podcast, and the Weekly Planet podcast as well. But also you can follow us on Twitter at Film Optics. Optics again is spelled OPTIX. And I don't know if we're reviewing anything this week, Devin? Question mark.
Well, I'm definitely seeing Dr. Sleep. I don't know if you.
I was gonna go see Last Christmas, because that comes out this week. I've never seen The Shining, so I don't want to like watch Dr. Sleep. But
well, you got a few days.
That is true. I mean, I did see Terminator Dark Fate without seeing the other Terminator, so there's that. But I don't know. Anyway, we will see you guys later, and you guys just take it easy. No peace, Devin?
Peace.